Hello and welcome back to the Shed Geek Podcast. Here's a message from our studio sponsor. Let's be real. Running a shed business today isn't just about building great sheds. The industry is changing fast. We're all feeling the squeeze, competing for fewer buyers while expectations keep climbing. And yet, I hear from many of you that you are still juggling spreadsheets, clunky software, or disconnected systems. You're spending more time managing chaos than actually growing your business. That's why I want to talk to you about our studio sponsor, ShedPro. If you're not already using them, I really think you should check them out. ShedPro combines your 3D configurator, point of sale, RTO contracts, inventory, deliveries, and dealer tools all in one platform. They even integrate cleanly into our Shed Geek marketing solutions. From website lead to final delivery, you can quote, contract, collect payment, and schedule delivery in one clean workflow. No more double entries, no more back and forth chaos. Quoting is faster, orders are cleaner. And instead of chasing down paperwork, you're actually running your business. And if you mention Shed Geek, you'll get 25% off all setup fees. Check it out at shedpro.co/ShedGeek. Thank you, ShedPro, for being our studio sponsor, and honestly, for building something that helps the industry. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast, where we are now in a little far, well, we're not really farther south. We almost went west, but we got nicer weather for some reason here in Tampa, and 62 degrees, but it's getting dark, and we're getting excited to go over to Clearwater and just experience more of Florida while we're here in the area with Peter Miller. Nonetheless, let's talk about, before we get too far, let's talk about Peter. First of all, has been a gentleman. He's been stellar. You know him as Miller Sheds. You know him as Making Sell Simple. You know him as co-founder or founder or co-owner or whatever it is of Shed Sell Summit. I just know him as a friend first, and a lot of other things second in terms of business. But what I'm most proud of and most happy of is that he's joining the team at Shed Geek on the consulting side to offer Shed Geek consultation along with our friend Tyler Mahan, our friend Richard Mashburn, and Chris Sedlek. And Peter will be joining the host of those two, where we can combine our powers like Captain Planet here and try to make for the best experience for those who want a consultation. So welcome, Peter, for that, first of all.
Well, thank you very much. Definitely looking forward to talking to people in the arena of sheds and sales, and how I can hopefully bring some value to them back into the shed world. Like I've said before, I can only tell you what I've experienced. I'm not an expert per se, but I've had some experiences, and happy to be able to share those with our future clients.
You're going to do great. We've already got 2 on. We're excited about that, so we're looking forward to releasing this and getting it out there a little bit more. Hopefully we'll be doing some of that either before or shortly after this podcast airs. Now, let's get to the man of the hour. Feel free to introduce yourself.
It's Mike Langston. I'm with Tampa Sheds here in beautiful Tampa, Florida. We started this adventure. My grandparents started in 1976, so we're celebrating 50 years.
Amazing.
I was just a young boy, more in the way than helping, at 10 years old, riding along with my grandfather and my uncle, delivering storage sheds, and here we are, 50 years later.
50 years later.
Still getting after it.
So I can only imagine. My favorite question to ask over the last 5 years on the podcast is, what did it look like then compared to what it looks like now? And that might take the whole podcast.
It probably could. It's interesting. My grandparents came out of South Georgia. They had been in Florida, Tampa, quite some time when they got started. And my grandfather was doing kitchen cabinets and carpet at the time he got started. I had an opportunity to put a few silver corrugated buildings on a piece of property and sell them. At that time, they were conduit pipe frame, so they were this rounded roof conduit pipe. There was no colors. There wasn't a whole lot of options. And that's how we got started. And I mean, it just kept growing. He always felt like someday everybody would have a shed in Tampa, and then he would go do something else. But it just kept growing from there. And before we knew it, it was more buildings and more work, but we've always just been an independent dealer. We've been with the same manufacturer since 1978. We're a handy house dealer, and just had a great relationship with them over the years. They know our family; they feel like family, and so that changed. And then of course, government always comes into play somewhere along the line. And over those years, a storage shed was just a storage shed. Nobody in government cared anything about you putting a shed in your backyard. Now it's a whole nother deal. We have hurricane codes and permitting and all these fun things we get to deal with. So it's really been some things feel gradual and some things feel like they've been like a rocket ship.
It seems to be more and more, doesn't it? With the oversight, unfortunately, and especially if you're in like you have homes close by here, you're in HOAs and things like that. We actually made a mistake coming here, and we ended up over by the airport in the Buck Stadium. Yeah. So we're only I think we traveled about 10 or 11 miles over this way. So, we're in the heart of Tampa pretty much.
Downtown from here is about 6-7 miles. Yeah. But you can get fairly rural in just a few miles out. I'm actually grew up in the Plant City area. We have a location out there as well. And, in those areas, and it's funny, we service it all. The city, some of the smaller buildings will go there, or in the commercial setting, there's some bigger buildings. But so we have city ordinances, we have county ordinances, we have state things, HOA. So it's a lot of fun down here in Florida to kind of negotiate those things and, meet the code. I envy some of you guys that don't have to block an anchor. That seems like that would be a nice thing maybe sometimes. But speaking on that, my grandfather was the first one in the Tampa area to block an anchor. And he didn't do it because he had to, but he just felt like it was the right way to do it, to set the building level. And he had a 6th grade education. It was very simple to him. Take care of the customer and the money will take care of itself. My grandmother was taking care of the money. She would watch it and make sure he actually got done. But he really did, just take care of the customer, serve your customer, and the money will take care of itself over time. And that's what he did, and that's what we built. And so we have a trust in the community, or we feel like we do. Our reviews and stuff show that people trust us, and they come back and they refer their friends. And that's really been our marketing plan for 50 years more than anything else. It's just referrals and being in the same location.
Well, it's a pretty good one. When you got 50 years going for you, that's a benefit that's hard to kind of replace, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. I know in sheds and stuff, because we have some lots as well here in Florida, and the different codes that have come out really since, I would say, Hurricane Andrew was probably one of the
That was the big one.
The main thing that started a lot of the restrictions that we go through. And it's interesting, every 4 years you have that updated new code that you have to follow. And,
yes, we do.
Well, that's one of those things. I think if there's any haulers listening to this, with the anchoring and different things, making sure that your anchor is deep enough into the ground. And if you have to, I don't know how you do it, but on some of ours, we'll use chain to extend it if it's raised up higher or something along those lines. But 50 years of referrals is definitely something that most shed lots can't even talk about 5 years to some degree.
That's right, yeah. No, a lot of new dealers, especially, post-COVID. Yeah. We definitely saw manufacturing and dealers kind of come into the fray where, I think we talked about that earlier, was like, not a good thing, but a good thing for business in terms of like sales and but then it probably makes a unfair appearance for those looking to get into it, in the sense that like, this is simple, this is easy, and we can jump right in and it'll always be this.
There's nothing simple about delivering a storage shed in August or July in Tampa, Florida, when it's 110 degrees and you're trying to, get one across the yard and not get on the septic tank or what have you. It can be quite an endeavor. But we got a great team. Some of the employees have been with me over 20 years, one in particular, and most everybody else has been almost 10 years. So wow. we have a great group that feels like family. You know, and that's always been something we've wanted to do. We want to take care of our people, and so that trust, you know, building trust with the customer, building trust with our team, and then me just trying to be a lifelong learner and of leadership and to try to do it right. And when I get it wrong, and that happens fair enough, often enough, to try to, you know, go back and say, hey, you know, kind of blew that one, you know, get a redo on it, and they're very gracious, and I try to be the same with them. I mean, right. Typically, you know, my feeling when we have a misstep, whether it's an invoicing or whatever, it will frustrate me that maybe I haven't gave clarity around what should have been done or how we could have done it. Not that my team member didn't care. And when you have that, like, okay, we're going to just figure out how we can do this better so that doesn't happen again. It's not somebody doesn't care about the business or care about being successful. That's been something that's been from the beginning. My grandfather was that way. He had a lot of patience. 17-year-old kid running wide open, you know, was his main helper on delivery crew. Couldn't get off fast enough on Friday. I mean, right. This conversation could not be happening on a Friday. I had places to go, people to see, and you know, and he'd be like, "Boy, just slow down. You got to spend time with the people." And you know, so it was great. And you know, and I said, you know, his customers. The other thing is he understood that not everybody was his customer.
Yeah.
And if you were his customer, he would do anything to make you happy. But if the product he was selling or the service that he provided was not going to meet your need or make you happy, he didn't want your money just to have the money. He would make a friend and a trustworthy, you know, person in it, or he would rather you go somewhere you felt that you trusted the person or the product.
Oh no.
Sam, what's going on? Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine, Lisa. I was just trying to get a screwdriver and all this other stuff fell down. I'm ready to go buy a shed so we can have some space in this garage again.
I agree. I keep looking at the shed Mr. Jenkins bought. Let's ask him where I got his.
Howdy, neighbor. We're wondering, how do you like your shed?
I love it. It's exactly what I needed, and I couldn't have asked for a better service.
And where did you get it?
I can't remember, but let me check. Something this nice will probably have the builder's name on it somewhere. No, I'm sorry. I can't find a name anywhere.
Well, we finally got a shed.
Yes, I just hope we're happy. The thing is a lot more shoddy than I expected, and I'm sure I told them I wanted a window, but they didn't have it in the paperwork, so I couldn't argue. Boy, is this a lousy shed. We haven't even had it 2 years, have we?
Barely. It was just a bad deal all the way around. Mr. Jenkins told me the other day that he likes his shed so much he wants to get a second one, but he still can't remember where he got it.
Your product is your best advertising. At Identigrow, we provide nameplates that ensure your quality products are never forgotten. Identify your products, grow your business. For more information, visit identigrow.com.
Or give them a call at 540-283-9193. No, that makes a lot of sense. I think your granddad had a lot of. Sometimes they, you know, I feel like those guys are just like the elders of our generation as we're growing up. I told Deanna this on the way down. You know, they often plant seed that they may never be around to get a chance to experience. To want to see the patience that exists in you now on a Friday is like, well, I'm going to plant this seed, but I'm not going to get to see it because he's still got to go through it. And I've learned so much about that in life. Is like there's been so many good people in my life, you know, that have like instilled good, sound, just deep seed to like I can't go back and say thank you. And I wish I could, oftentimes. So what a great story. I love it. So how do you guys know each other? Peter tells me you guys were in jail together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Is that right?
Well, in the prison of sheds, the shed business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've been locked in a shed for the last 50 years.
Actually, I think, and you may have a different story than this, but I think it was Hurricane Ian in 2022. It ripped through Fort Myers and Port Charlotte and up in Arcadia. And I remember I was out with Peter Boyle, and we were kind of surveying some of the damage, and we happened to go by Tampa Sheds there in Port Charlotte, right there at Northport, right at that area. And Mike was out there cleaning up, and we stopped in and met each other and started talking. And it's kind of like in the shed industry, when you're a shed person, you're in the industry, you usually click real quick. And it just started a friendship. We exchanged numbers, and we've talked off and on since then, and just had this great opportunity. And I was listening to what you were saying there, Mike, about, with your employees and stuff, and I wanted to make mention to that, like the leadership that you have. How many leaders actually are willing to admit if they made a mistake and ask that employee to work back and forth? And that just speaks volumes to me right there. We know each other as friends, but then hearing you say that was just that really meant a lot to me.
And that it didn't happen overnight, right? I coached youth soccer for many years, and early on coaching, I didn't want nobody to know what I didn't know. And I think in business it was the same way, right? So I was very sealed up order. In the later years of my coaching and in business, I want everybody to know what I don't know, right? And what I'm trying to learn and what I'm trying to figure out. And I will open it up, maybe too much sometimes, to people to show, because I'm open to bring, in. I would bring competitor coaches in to train my team on off nights. If they would come, I would pay them to come in. And, people are like, aren't you scared they're going to steal your players? I'm like, no, my players love me and trust me. And if they want to go there and play, they should go there and play, right? So we would bring them in, and they would, learn new ways, and the guy would approach it, maybe say the same thing I'm saying in a different way. Same way in business with getting coaching and what have you. And it just opens you up. Because everybody knows, you may think that they don't know, but everybody knows you don't know it all, right? You're the only one that's kidding yourself if you think you're hiding it from them, that you got it all figured out. Because the guys that got it all figured out are usually the guys that really can have a misstep, right? So, I would suggest, you have to be reserved. You have to be careful. It's business, right? And there are some wolves in sheep's clothes, so you need to pay. But when you find someone that you can trust, that can speak into your life and your business. I like the old African proverb, right? If you want to go, fast, go by yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you want to go long, you got to go with people.
Yeah.
And so I've had over the years, kind of like what I would call my personal board of directors. And there's people in that circle of mentors. They're not 100% rounded people. Some are really strong in their faith. Some are strong in finance, some are strong in business, some are strong in relationships. And I just try to surround myself with those kind of people and then I'm part of their circle. And so we push and sharpen each other. And I would for someone who's new in business, or even if you've been a while, if you don't have a group of people around you that can call you on your junk, or you can call but also speak and in love, man, it's what we're doing in life, right? Mm-hmm. We're doing life together.
You think you're just in the shed industry, but you're really in the people business.
Absolutely.
And the people business, I think Simon Sinek says, 100% of businesses are run by 100% of people. So if you don't know people, you don't know business. And like we get so trained to thinking like there's this robot, because like digitally there is, right? Like there's this whatever that records this automatically, right? Like there's this that records, this board that records. There is like a website that works while you're not there. Right. There's all these different things, but like when it comes down to the people, that's something that you can't change. And like, so obviously business is about people, and that's how you treat people. People remember how they make you feel. That's what I was trying to come up with. People don't remember what you say; they remember how you made them feel. And you do your best to succeed in every opportunity to make people feel the right way. But you miss the mark sometimes, even with your customers. I mean. I don't know what y'all's experience has been, but that's been mine.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And when you can solve a customer's problem, for me, that's that's the blessing. That's the cool part, right? So that's what I've tried to train my staff. Like, we're not trying to sell them per se. We're trying to serve them. So if we serve them, we listen to what their problem is, and we have the tool to solve it, then they should do business with us. We want to solve it because we know we're going to do it right. We know we're going to show up. We're going to do what we say we're going to do. If we don't have the tool or the product to solve it, then hey, let's see if we can help find them. We personally don't do build on site sheds. That's just not something. It's not our sweet spot. There's a company in town that does it. They're a competitor, and I tell people if you're going to do build on site, that's probably where you're going to have to go. Or if we can crane lift, we can find another option, right? We would do that. But it's just the way it is. They're not our customer right now. That doesn't mean they can't be our friend and they're part of our community. Uh-huh. But if we serve them well in whatever capacity, they're not going to forget that, and they're going to come back.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying there, if you can serve the customer, and sometimes they're shocked that you're not trying to sell them something all the time. You're trying to solve that problem, like you had said. As long as you're solving that problem, the byproduct is you might get to sell the shed. You're solving the problem solving.
I could tell you some of our best years. We're on the corner here, major intersection. To the next intersection, and if you turned left, there was 3 competitors side by side and us. So we were all within less than a half a mile of each other. Some of our strongest years is when the 4 of us were all right here together. And, if in that time I was selling a little more, and they would shop, and they'd say, well, we're shopping. And I'd say, oh, if you're shopping, go to the light, turn left. There's going to be 3 competitors there. If you look at those 3 locations and you look at mine, you're going to have a good feel for what the market has to offer. And then you just got to decide who you want to do business with. I didn't say, well, this guy's building leaks, and this guy has bad windows, and this guy's doors. That's nonsense. Look, people are going to make up their mind what they want to do. I would tell him what we think were our strong points of our shed. Uh-huh. But they're shopping. Uh-huh. They're going to look around. So let them look around. Let them feel comfortable who they want. Some bought down there. A lot of them bought with us. Some of our best years. What is your best thoughts on what you want customers to know if they are shopping at Tampa Sheds or online or whatever? What is your message to them if you could get something across to them? I would recommend, do business with someone you trust, right? We sell the aluminum product mostly. Here in Florida, the wood is coming strong like in many areas. A lot of people have got into the wood. And, there's advantages to the wood. There's advantages to the aluminum. The thing that we share with them, we're not painting. Typically, you're not painting aluminum for a very long time, if ever. It's a baked enamel, so that's kind of a selling point that we have. There's no decay in the aluminum, and that sort of thing. So make sure you trust the people you're doing business with, and that. Of course, I'm prejudiced to a brick and mortar, right? Because that's what that's what we have, right? But I do think some of the online guys are really doing a good job in standing behind it. I think initially when some of that came out, like in so many other industries, a thing I'll tell customers like, hey, if we screw up, you can come put your hands around my neck. I'm like, here, right? You can find me. I don't know if you're going to find the guy online, but I'm here, and of course we have an online presence, and we sell out. And again, not to trash any of the online guys, it's just 2 different things. And if you like to kind of feel and look at it, and I'm in my 50s, so I'm still kind of that way. But hey, I'm the Amazon world. Whoever thought we'd buy shoes without putting them on and walking a little ways, right? And then you have different level of customers, right? We have customers that I just need space in my backyard to get my garage cleaned out. As long as it doesn't look bad and my neighbors aren't complaining, I just need a box, right, to put stuff in. And yeah, you want it quality, you want it there. And then you have others like, oh, no, this is a yard piece, right? This is to add value to my property. Right. I want it to match the house. So you have to understand what the customer is looking for to be able to provide it. And in some of those things, the wood can do some little more cutesy and a little more personalized things where the aluminum is kind of where it's at there, a little more utilitarian. So, just to figure out what you need, what you want to service, and then just do business with people that you trust. And then if there's a problem with the product, they should stand behind it. And it's not going to matter whether it's wood or aluminum or my brand or your brand. it's really the people.
Hello, shed builders. I'd like to grab your attention for just a moment. As we look ahead, one thing is clear. Customers will have higher expectations than ever before. Shed consumers have an unprecedented access to information. To stay competitive, you need to create sheds that are not only high in quality, but also rich in innovation. You might recall my friend Dan Ream, one of my early podcast guests, who introduced Solar Blaster fans, specifically the Solar Roof Blaster. Dan has been busy handling orders, and he's eager to speak directly to shed builders about his groundbreaking products. What stands out to me about Dan's products, designed specifically for sheds, like the Solar Roof Blaster and the Solar Light Blaster, is how they enhance the shed owner's experience. With the focus on quality, it's time to start thinking about adding features and benefits for the end user. Here at Shed Geek, we wholeheartedly recommend Solar Blaster as the solution. My favorite thing about the entire line of products? The support you'll receive from Dan. Not only is he incredibly knowledgeable about these products, but he's also one of the most customer-focused individuals I know. He truly stands behind both his product and his service. We're searching for companies ready to elevate customer satisfaction to the next level. To learn more, just visit solarblasterfans.com and fill out some basic information for a callback, or connect directly at 480-747-7097. You can also check out the Shed Geek newsletter, where a click on the Solar Blaster ad will guide you to a form for more information and some cool videos showcasing the products. Let's power up innovation and elevate customer experiences together. I think we get caught up sometimes, Peter, too much when you're in the industry, you get caught up too much in the industry. You don't get a chance. You sell to customers the way you buy, and there's so like you don't really get to experience like just a clean slate, letting somebody come in who's looking for a solution, and you get to provide that without thinking about, am I pushing metal? Am I pushing wood? Am I pushing this feature, that feature? Am I really helping the customer?
Right. One of the things that I remember from years back was God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen twice as much as you talk, because the customer is going to tell you exactly what they are wanting. Now, you may be able to input some ideas that they don't know about, but listen to what they say and don't put your opinion over on what their desire is.
I remember getting really just in the product knowledge part, and it's because I was trying to learn. I wanted to make sure, to be able to express exactly what our value proposition was when you came in. And I got excited to be like, I built for a little while, so I understood construction enough to know what a single top plate or a double top plate was. And I was like, oh, well, we do double top plates, so that's great. I need to make sure to focus on that as a featured benefit of what we do. And I can tell you that probably 1 out of 1,000 people who bought really actually knew or cared for the most part. You could point it out and explain it to them, but for the most part, they weren't impressed by your product knowledge.
And that guy typically gets out of the car. He's got a measuring tape and a pad of paper.
I promise you.
Get out with the measuring tape.
I promise you. Outside of that,
yes,
he will.
Contractor.
He will also have this phrase in his back pocket when you start to conversate with him. I can probably build this cheaper myself.
And to my grandfather's answer and mine as well, we would have him say, I could build this thing much cheaper. My grandfather said, you can't. And he's like, yeah. Like, when can you start?
That's exactly.
I will buy every one you can build cheaper, because we need more sheds, and we will buy them from you. And that usually
we are so much alike, but sometimes those little comments rub people the wrong way. Yes. And I was like, but you know what? At the same time, I was just always ready to say, I told somebody recently, I never did it, but I said, you should put a sign in your office that says there will be a 10% upcharge for customers who return and purchase after mentioning they can build it cheaper themselves, just as a joke to kind of almost stop that, because I don't realize that you hear it so often. And then the other was, I remember one time I just felt like I wasn't going to get the sale on this, and the guy said I could build it cheaper myself, and I said, well, how much cheaper? And he would be like, I could probably do it for this, that's $4,000. I can do it for $3,000. And it's just like, well, listen, we're looking to find new partners, and we would love it if we can find a new partner who could provide us. Now, can you do that and do 10 sheds a week? Or do you think you could? I probably can. I don't know. But maybe I can only do 5. I said, I'll tell you what. I'll take 5 if you can build them this way to spec. And then, like, can you get those to me next week? And it's like, well, I don't know how I'm going to get them to you. And it's like, well, they got shed trailers and stuff that you can get. And he's like, what's that cost? I was like, well, I don't know, $50,000, whatever. What's that matter? You could saving all this money. And so I would go and indulge myself. And you can't do this very often because you come across wrong. But it's just like, well, I was hoping to get them from you because I'm looking for partners. Like you said, I want more sheds. And it's not really the way. It's first of all, I'm not recommending that.
No. When you've been in the game a little bit, sometimes you catch yourself. And so I stay out of the front office a little bit more now because I sometimes don't have the patience I should have on certain things. But I've got a great patient staff. But yeah, my grandfather near the end, we look like, how does he sell anything? But he was so plain spoken, and he was just straight with some of the things he would say. And you got to realize, he made it into his 90s, and so he was blessed enough to get to see some of the things we accomplished. But in his late 60s, he's still doing it. And he was pretty direct. I think would be the way to say it.
And sometimes that actually wins business too.
I think that's almost a generation gone because nowadays you don't hear that in as much that I can tell. Now, older generation, we have a lady who actually we're going to be interviewing. Jerry Hayes is one of our sales ladies. She's 82 years old, and she tells you exactly how it is. Now, she asks everybody who walks through that door if they're going to buy a shed or not, or if they want to buy a shed. But she also is very clear and to the point. And I think in today's salesperson, they're not necessarily that direct.
Diplomacy. Everybody attempts to practice diplomacy at the highest level in which it's possible because you are a salesperson. You are not, you're going to kind of get the results of like your attitude. So if you do take that hard approach, like I talked about earlier, people are going to feel that. And again, they're going to remember the way you feel. And the reality is you're not looking for new partners. You're not looking to buy those sheds. You're actually looking to prove the guy wrong on why he can't do it. But if you go too hard on that, you're not only not going to get a sale from him, you're not going to get a sale from anybody else around him. And even if he's not buying that day, the diplomacy says, let this person out the door off the hook, as opposed to trying to go toe-to-toe with them and be like, oh, yeah? Well, I bet you can't, build it cheaper.
And you know what I tell you, when I'm in a good space, when margin pressure's not bad and we have margin in our lives, right, and the hounds aren't chomping our feet, to get a difficult customer can be fun to serve. When you can take someone who comes in and from the minute they walk in, they're like, well, you're too expensive, and I don't know what this is, and you just walk them through and you talk to them and you serve them, and then you sell them, and then in the end they give you a review on Google about how good you were. And it's happened, but you've got to be in the right place. Right. And if you're running wide open, and as probably many people that listen to this podcast are, you're like, yeah, I don't have time to deal with this difficult person right now. I'll move on to maybe some lower hanging fruit. Mm-hmm. And I've been there. So you're in good company. You miss opportunities sometimes because typically the thing that they're most frustrated is really has nothing to do with you. There's something at home. There's something at work. We're in a stressful time. People are running wide open. We have these you could get into a whole conversation about these collars that we have called an iPhone that kind of shock us all the time and distract us and take us away from what we should be focused on, and and all the other things. You miss the opportunity sometimes to really just come around somebody and serve them. And again, like you said, it's more than the shed business. You're in the people business. There's something we say, and I don't know who said it first, but to be unclear is to be unkind. So that clarity around what you're trying to accomplish, to be straight. And we know from people in our lives, while you say, wow, they're really straight and direct or forward, but you respect it because there's never any talking behind your back. They're clearly talking to you. They tell you what their issue is with you or not with you, and they're there for you. On a friendship level or a mentor level. And if at some level you can be able to your customer because you're trying to serve them, then hey.
I heard you said to be unclear is to be unkind. I heard it said one time, oh gosh, how does it go? If you don't understand it well enough, or if you can't explain it easily, you don't understand it well enough yourself. So like you need to be able to like find the easiest path to be able to explain it. And of course people want like a yes answer to everything they ask when they are asking questions in sales, you know? Yes, they want you to be able to say, yes, we can do that. Yes, we can get it delivered tomorrow. Yes, we can take money off. Yes, we can add features and take money off. Yes, we can, like they want that. So no becomes like, and then there's some philosophy on that, right? Behind get to the no quicker than you get to the yes. And you've done, I'd love to talk about like some of your experiences with different leadership, different programs that you've been in, different things you've attended, you know, people you've met, how this has worked out for you.
So I would highly recommend anybody who's doing business by themselves, try to get into some kind of organization or group where you can partner with other business leaders to push into each other, to ask questions in a safe space. I'm part of an organization called Community on Demand, and we're a group of about 30 business leaders throughout the United States, and we have one gentleman out of Canada. We meet once a year in person and do a little summit. And then we meet online a couple times a week. And in those calls, we'll have a winning Wednesday. And you just come and bring, you know, hey, it wins. And as you know, being a business leader, it can be pretty lonely sometimes, right? And you find out real quick when you run a business, your friends that you had from high school or college or what have you that work for people don't really understand what payroll is like when it's Friday and you're looking there and you know you got to make it and it's not looking like it's going to make it, right? You got to figure this out. Or when you have a good sell and you make a nice return and you can't celebrate it the same as you can with other people that have been there, right? And people that understand that the top line gross is vanity and the bottom line is sanity. It doesn't matter how much money somebody runs through their business. It matters how much you get to keep and to share and to use with your family and your community. So our group is Community on Demand, but there's several out there. And I started on that journey with through Entree Leadership, which was a Dave Ramsey program. When they first launched out, I went to their conference that they have. It's a 5-day, and it was just a total immersion in business. And it's the first time I'd ever spent anywhere near that sort of money to do something like that. I was questioning whether I should, but I was pulling my hair out. I was, just didn't know what direction to go. We went over there, and within about 45 minutes of sitting in this room with these other small business leaders, what we figured out was some of us weren't as in good a shape as we thought we were, and a lot of us weren't in as bad a shape as we thought we were. We're probably one decision from running it in the ditch, but we are in the road, and we have a vehicle to drive. So it was just a wonderful time. I would highly recommend the Entree Leadership book as a starting point for anybody starting, just to kind of get some framework around how you might want to run your business. It's a great book by Dave Ramsey. And then from there, with this, we do a book a month with this group that I'm in. Readers are leaders. So
I love that phrase. I've used it before. Readers are leaders. I love to read.
I'm an Audible guy, so I'm listening to them a lot when I'm in the car.
I love Audible too.
I have a harder time.
Seven credits right now. Just waiting. Me and my wife both. We love to Audible, but I love reading too. And honestly, I don't even like TV's just boring almost to me anymore. Unless it's a documentary or educational.
That might be showing our age, but yes, I'm the same way.
Did I just call myself old?
I like documentaries, but I grew up on them. That was definitely one of the things I've always loved.
I got a big day tomorrow. I have a fully finished 18 by 40 cabin that's going to require 2 to 3 meals to get it delivered. Way back in the sticks and down a dirt lane. With all the rain we've had lately, it's going to be a mess. Well, it needs a bigger mule.
Well, when you talk, Cardinal listens, and you asked for it. With its diesel-powered 69-horse engine and capacity to move 40,000-pound sheds, the Mule 9069 is ready to turn your big days into just another day in the good life.
Ah, that's right. You're talking about the one they had up in Michigan at the shed show. That monster mule, that thing was awesome.
That's right. It's the one you've seen at all the shed hauler barbecues.
Man, yeah, there's nothing like a little diesel donkey to make my day go so much better.
Well, I could tell you, my kids would ride. We'd go in the car and we're listening to The Question Behind the Question, which is a great book. The Tortoise and the Hare. He talks about Dave Ramsey. He says, it always seems like the tortoise is going to win. I never get it. We're an overnight success. It just took 50 years to get there. That's the thing. People think don't believe the hype. If you're a young person getting started in this or in any business, and you look around and you see this guy's got a Corvette and that guy's got a big. Listen, it's slow and steady. And sometimes you're just grinding. Yes. And I will tell you the other thing that was really relieving to me. I'm a big John Maxwell fan as well. Mm-hmm. And I was so surprised to hear him say one time, vision casting is a big thing, right? Have vision and set vision, and where there's a vision, people perish. And it's all true, right? But some of us aren't as gifted in as others. And so if you're not, and this was what John said he said, I just really didn't know this big vision of where I was going to go. He said, so I just did the next right thing. Oh. Mm-hmm. And so thank God, it was like such a relief because okay, well, that's what I'm trying to do, just the next right thing, right? We're in a process now of transitioning to the 4th generation with our business. And so we're just trying to do the next right thing to set that up to succeed. These stats on generational businesses are horrible. It is just, they fail at like a higher rate than anything. And so we're working really hard to have a legacy play for this next generation to be able to continue in the family business, or not if they choose not to, right? So we're trying to really make sure that, they just don't feel like they have to do it because this is what the family's done. That they be the person that God's called them to be. And in each of them, I have a niece and a nephew that are also falling in behind my brother's side of the business. My son is falling in behind on mine, and my father and grandfather were in the business. So it's a, be a lifelong learner, read what you can read, and listen, eat the chicken and spit out the bones. Some of these books are terrible. There's some things in there that you're just like, what in the world did I just read, right? And I'm like, okay, I know I'm not the smartest guy, but that just doesn't seem like that makes sense. So eat
it's
the
like
chicken,
the guy who says, maybe I'm the problem. That don't make any sense.
Can't be. Can't be me.
Well, I'll just put a plug in here. One book that's just always going to be right no matter what is the Bible. So
absolutely,
make sure you're daily reading that. And that's just my plug in it. Maybe some people don't agree with that, but I'd say the Bible is the best book to read. Read those other ones, but definitely the Bible
brings you back in, centers you. Like even as you get out there, one of the biggest mistakes, and I think I've told people this, and I think I was even sharing with you guys, that I've done prison ministry before, I've done drug and alcohol ministry. It's not a fun ministry. It's not one that people love. Yeah. It's not like giving people water in Africa. It's not children's, programs and like teaching them to be leaders or doing mission work in third world countries. It's like people, they're the unlovable, but yet 2/3 of the New Testament Bible is written right there, in prison. And you think about Paul and Silas, if we said, lock them up, throw away the key. Imagine where they would be today if that's the mentality we took. But God, thank goodness, who we serve, didn't have that mentality even when people do. So I've kind of like always been given the hard cases. Like I feel like by the Lord, like love the ones that are unlovable, because oftentimes you feel unlovable yourself, or you see something in them that's maybe pulling at you. And like I've tried to even take that mindset into. Back when I was selling sheds, I remember a lot of times somebody would come into the lot and you would just feel, if you believe in this, you'd feel the Holy Spirit almost tell you they're not here to buy a shed. You're just happen to be in their path today. So it gives you an opportunity to minister, but they're not there to buy a shed. And I specifically remember one lady coming in and she was just tore up because she was looking for a shed. But really what had happened was I think it was her son had died. Mm-hmm. And her husband were trying to figure out where to put his stuff because they didn't want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
But they wanted a memory of it, but they were clearing out the room and they were like, what do we do? And she was like, I came, my husband wouldn't come because he was just like, he just couldn't process coming and like talking about like moving his stuff and things. And she just started crying. And like, we just loved her and prayed for her and encouraged her, and we knew like, hey, I'm not trying to, I'll solve her problem today, but I don't think her problem's me trying to push a shed. If she wants to come back and buy a shed, that's fine. But you got to look for those opportunities. And, I myself am wanting to get back into that. And I know that's going to pull me away from this podcast some, or possibly. So I'm trying to navigate what that's going to look like. But it comes down to another good book, Simon Sinek, which is Find Your Why.
Yes, great book. We've done that in our group, and that's a one that just to push in and figure out why you're doing what you're doing, and you know what, you have to go back and revisit that every so often too, because you get busy and you can lose it. I mean, we've ran that hurricane, and just to go back to that, Peter showed up. We were out there cleaning up when the hurricane hit down there. I had a choice to make. It totally destroyed our lot. $100 and something thousand worth of sheds were in a pile. I mean, they were literally in a pile. But my staff that was down there was okay, and we were able to come alongside them, and we got some generators and fuel down there for the community, and did some other things. But then I had a hard decision to make. The way we do business, I'm going to stand behind what I say and what I say I'm going to do. So I knew we either had to close and just wait till it settled down, or it was going to be all hands on deck. So I pulled my team together and said, the Tampa team, I said, listen, I think it's all hands on deck. I think we need to do this. We need to get down there. We need to help. These people are in a bad way. And yes, we're in business to serve and sell these product as well. So I basically moved down there for a year. I took my RV, I put it on the lot because we couldn't get back and forth. The time frames were just terrible to make this 100-mile trek. So Peter came in at a time where, we were exhausted. It was daylight till dark every day trying to clean up. Then we're getting new sheds in. Then we were trying to help people. Some of the sheds were still together. Other people's sheds, brands, ours, whatever, were flipped over. We were standing them back up. But for about a year and a half, I lived down there during the week, come back home on the weekend so that I could make sure if we said we were going to give somebody a shed, we made sure we got it to them and got their stuff in there. And so Peter just come along at a time where it was just refreshing. Another shed guy come by, he was nice, and we just had a nice visit. And I'm sure he probably left and went, boy, that guy's out of there, But
he actually told me that on the way here. He's like,
I would doubt it.
He's like, you got to watch out for this guy.
Our head was on fire, I can tell you. It was crazy.
That was when we were in the prison cell.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the reason I know is because, after you bonded out, I came in and shared the cell with him. He was like, that guy. Let me tell you about that guy.
Yeah. It was, and that was the first time. So Tampa has been blessed. We didn't have a direct hit in many, many years. So that area had got hit with the 4 that had come across several years before, but I didn't own the location down there. So it was the first time in business that I'd been where we had basically a total loss of everything. And we had to start from kind of scratch again as far as the lot and getting it in order and getting everything cleaned up. And there's no manual on that. And so, and you get down there was nowhere to eat. We figured that out pretty quick. And so we ended up doing, and it's not too on horns, it just worked for us and for them. We brought a bunch of hamburgers and a grill down there, and we just took a 4x8 sheet of plywood, probably from one of my floors of my buildings, and we wrote free hamburgers and set it out beside the road. And we had, the electrical company coming by and families and stuff coming by, and they're like, no. I'm like, listen, no, just take a burger and go, so you can find something to eat and the water. And it was a rough go of it for a few weeks there. And then, and then it was stressful all the way through. But then we finally, kind of got back in the rhythm and we really embedded ourselves in the community at that point because we were coming from Tampa to down there. We had some staff down there. But that was a really trying time for us, right? And to try to figure that out, and then to make that decision, okay, I decided I did not want to. If I couldn't do it and do it right, then I would rather close and just not be part of trying to sell than to take people's deposits, them hoping for a building because their roof was tore off or whatever, and us not be able to serve them. So got with our manufacturer, said, hey, can you back me up? Can you get me up to speed? Get me what I needed? They promised they would. My staff in Tampa basically took over all my responsibilities in Tampa so I could be down there. And I was delivering and I was cleaning the lot and we were mopping floors and doing all the things that you do, because that's what you do when it's all hands on deck.
Digital Shed Builder is an online shed configurator that strives to provide incredible visual quality, fantastic customer service, and an amazingly low price point, making it a perfect fit for any shed dealer looking to increase their online sales. Digital Shed Builder is simple to use, taking less than 5 minutes to integrate on your site. The Get a Quote feature streamlines your sales process, showing you exactly what your potential customers need. They offer a highly customizable experience that accurately represents your brand and unique shed offerings, working with you directly to set up everything you need in a configurator. With no extra startup cost, no lengthy contracts or commitments, and no hidden fees, Digital Shed Builder has been created with quality, simplicity, and affordability in mind.
Yeah.
Man, there's a lot of unsung heroes in the shed industry that do things that oftentimes get unnoticed because we're not, always looking for the recognition. Most aren't. And like, I just love hearing that story of like kind of how you guys met. I'm almost curious. This is just a side note, if you will. This is a sidebar here. What, I live in the Midwest, and we're almost like the new tornado alley. I feel like Illinois actually had more, tornadoes than Oklahoma. Matter of fact, more than anybody, any other state in 2025. And I'm just almost curious, as a guy who would, trust me, would love to move to Florida as long as I could move my whole family, the grandbabies and all, for the weather and just, the culture and all that. But just how bad is it? Like whenever you guys get the hurricanes to run through here, what do you guys do with what do you do with your lot? What do you do with your home? How do you guys approach these things as the energy starts to we have like,
you want to start?
Well, there's an unwritten script that everybody's going to go buy all the bread and all the water out of the local grocery store. The toilet paper is definitely going to go. So those things there just are out of the question as soon as you hear a hurricane's coming. But you kind of get used to it, I think, to a degree. Yep. You look at it and you say, if it's over a 3, we might be a little worried. If it's under 2, it's going to be a little bit rough. But you anchor every single shed. You on a 6x8, 8x10, you throw 2 anchors on either side. If you have enough anchors, you might do more. But on the you just get everything kind of huddled together. I've seen some lots taken, put all their sheds just in a big circle, just to try to, I guess, avoid that. Well, I don't know. Our experience has always been it's better just keep them lined up how they are and just anchor them where they're at. That's just our experience. During that Hurricane Ian, our location there in Arcadia, it got pretty well wiped off. I think there was some tornado activity during that because we had a big 40-foot wide steel structure that ended up on top of several buildings, probably about 300 or 400 feet away. And there was a 12 by 30 shed that was wrapped around the pole for the light in the center of the intersection. And it was anchored down. These things were all anchored down. It just, when you have that much force coming through. But that's what we do. Mike, what do you do?
We didn't know Peter at the time, after the storm. We grouped all our buildings in a big pile circle. and so it kept them in a big crushed pile. It was nice. We didn't have to go chase them. It was pretty crazy. We had a 12 by 30.
Some assembly required, right?
Yeah.
You could still sell them, but some assembly required.
One particular 12 by 30, we have no idea where the top of it is. We never found the garage door in the top to it, and the floor was turned over on top of it, so it skids up, and there was nothing. We have no idea where we never found it. Yeah. We had a large steel building. Our one staff there lived closer to the water, so she was going to her son's place in North Florida. She said, "Hey, can I leave my car inside the steel building so it doesn't get flooded?" And go with us, absolutely, So she puts the car in the steel building. When I come around the corner that morning after the storm to see what we were getting into, I could see her car on the lot, and there was no building. And I just was like, "Oh, that car's going to be totaled, right? Her car is going to be totally, because the building's gone." Get there was a little tear in the bumper about that big. All the glass was in it. And crazy enough, beside the building, we had some corner trim and some different trim pieces that were stacked in the building. They were all laying there right where we had left them, but the building was gone. Wow. It was like, so... Yeah, so we didn't anchor. We will anchor next time because in Tampa we had never really felt that direct hit. We'd had some pretty nasty storms, but had never got that hit like that one. And what was so bad about Ian versus the others, it sat there. Mostly they just kind of run through.
Yeah.
It just sat there and just pounded that area and those people. It was pretty hard on. I mean, besides Andrew, I don't think, for us there's been much worse.
Yeah, I would agree.
Well, I feel like time flies again when you're having fun. It's easy to get 50 minutes into a conversation and you don't even know it. Any shout outs you want to give, just people in the industry, people that you've known, or services that's been beneficial to you?
Yeah, we're working right now. We're working with Idea Room. Dan and I, Idea Room, about 4 years ago, we started working with him, and because we knew I'm techie just enough to be dangerous. I probably my people are like, oh, he's got another great idea. What is this going to look like? But we did Idea Room, and we've really enjoyed that. Enjoyed working with them. And then Tristan with Cal, Tristan Keswick, we worked with him kind of in the beginning when he was organizing some of that, and now we're trying to get that back on board. I would tell you, automation's happening, whether you like it or not, or whether you learn or not, and so the quicker we can do that, and I think I believe it would be possibly even easier for someone newer coming in because they don't have all these old systems in place. We have systems to check and double check and triple check, but that's what it is. It's a triple check. When you can automate those down so that you can spend more time serving customers than counting money. And when I say counting money, I'm not talking about there's a lot of it to count. It's just to make sure that the numbers are right, the inventory's right. You can do what actually produces income for you, takes care of your family, serves your employees, your team. And so I would speak for automation, and so we're working with Cal and with Idea Room to meet those needs.
Definitely, yeah. I can't say enough good. Tristan's actually an advertiser here on the podcast, and we've known him for quite some time and worked with him ourselves. And just blessings to him. He's just always such a good guy, honest guy, and wishing nothing but success for him as he continues in the future. I also want to just give a quick shout out to Solar Blaster fans, sponsors for this trip down here to Florida. They help make these things happen. So if you guys get a chance, just go check out the website, Solar Blaster fans. Buy a unit. You never know. You ain't got to buy a pallet. Buy a unit. Buy one unit. Check it out. See if it looks like it's beneficial for your customers. If so, use it. Install it on your sheds. I think Dan will take care of you. He's a great guy. So thank you, Dan. Thank you, Tristan. Those guys are excellent. Peter, final thoughts? Anything that you want to add here?
Well, just to take off that Solar Blaster fan, if you're in the Sunshine State, you need to have solar. You're going to use it quite a bit, and keeping your building that much cooler is definitely important. One of the things that I would say is, Mike, thank you for the friendship. I think one of the things that is very cool in this is people would call us competition as far as we have dealerships, he has dealerships, but we don't look at it as a fight. I look at it more as a collaboration. We can share information back and forth, and the fact that, hey, we've run into a bad shed hauler or something along those lines, that we can help each other out. But then there's a lot of good things also at the same time that we can share. And I think collaboration in the shed industry is something that needs to probably grow. I think it would be better if we're fighting. I've heard it said this way: if you throw mud, you're losing ground. And
well, at the very least, your hands are going to be dirty.
Yes. And I appreciate the friendship that we have, and definitely with Shed Geek, you have given us a platform to sit here and talk about sheds, which we love and hate sometimes. But it is very beneficial to the industry, and I do thank you for all that you put into it.
Man, we're just thankful the Lord gives us the opportunity. We know that He'll move us into the direction we need to. If it needs to end, He'll find a way to make it keep going if it needs to. We're just trying to be the stewards the best we can, but, get it wrong. Obviously, sometimes we try to express humility. Me and Kyle used to always have a joke that said, I'm the most humble person I know, just as a joke, just to break the ice. But the reality is, it's hard to be, you go through different moments of life. And I don't know, maybe it's Mark chapter 6, verse 2. Don't hold me to this shed industry, but I think it says no man's without honor except for among his family and his friends or in his hometown. And like, some people just won't let you forget who you were. They will never, forget who you were at some point. But thank goodness that we have a God that, knows us for our heart and who we are, and not just the things we've done and who we've been. And I think that's awesome that he extends those mercies to not just me, but to all of us. And because of that, he gives us opportunities like this to just conversate. That's really all this is. It's a good conversation. And you said, this is my favorite thing that you said to me. And I just gave this nice little humble speech, and now I'm going to throw some ego in there because we need that, I guess. But you said, I felt like I knew you a little bit because you've listened to some of the shows. And I think that's the importance of things like video and the digital era and social media and what you're doing for your customers. Because if they feel like they know you when you get there, it was kind of nice to like walk in. And even though I'd met you for the first time, you're like, I kind of feel like I know you or how you're going to approach or ask questions. And it's just been a very easy conversation since we got here.
It's been a great conversation, and I've enjoyed it. Looked forward to it when Peter had said, we're coming down and would you be interested? And I said, well, that's something different. It's not something I had done before.
Yeah.
And I said, but if we could share this idea, some of these things, and the industry, we really do need to work together and find our way together. There's plenty of people outside of the industry that are trying to take advantage of us. If you've been in it and you look around, I mean, and we're, I think I heard on one of your other podcasts, the gentleman from Stormwater said, we're usually about 8 years behind the things that can happen, right?
Yeah.
And I heard that, and it's true. I mean, there's people trying to kind of take advantage of some of the financing and rent-to-own things, and these guys don't care about the shed business. They're just guys that are trying to get money off of these dealerships, like they did with the ATVs and four-wheelers and what have you over the years. So if we stick together and we work and we talk on those things, hey, we're going to be competitors. I'm a fierce competitor. I mean, I want to win as much as anybody else. Peter wants to win, but we're not looking to hurt each other, right?
Yeah. Right.
And compete.
I like to think
hard.
that you guys are better friends than you are competitors.
Absolutely.
And that's the best way, I think, to say it. Mike, I just, impressed by your facility here, impressed that everything here is a shed. From your bathroom to your office to just about everything here is a shed. And it's really beautiful. You guys have been here for a long time. I wish you nothing but success and all that you do. I thank you. I'm so humbled by your being willing to sit down with us here. We enjoy getting to come down here to the Sunshine State, and we got some here now that we got to Tampa. And very excited about tomorrow's interviews and Wednesdays. And Peter, just, appreciate you so much for helping to set these things up. It means a lot.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Any final thoughts? Any questions?
One thing that I heard, and I know people have different opinions, but one thing I heard Andy Stanley say some time ago, and it stuck with me, and I've tried to kind of keep it in the forefront. Leadership is stewardship. It's temporary, and we're accountable. We won't always be the ones leading. So in your time when God's put us in these positions, there's much responsibility there. And so to be able to be, with you guys and visit and hopefully share something, that maybe can help somebody avoid falling in a pothole that I fell in or what have you, that's a blessing to me, and I'm thankful for the opportunity.
We've been looking at 2 and 3 year deals, 5-year deals. I've been having all those conversations. I don't know where it's going to go. Like right now here today, January 19th, I'm just like, I know that I'm good through the end of the year, and what we want to do, what we want to accomplish. I haven't planned anything past that. We do have a couple of like long-term things that, we're not only potential to do, but some that we're signed on with, just thinking it through. And like you said, sometimes it's a temporary thing. Sometimes it's a long-term thing. We know that we're going to continue to podcast through 2026. We hope that turns into 27 and 28. Maybe it looks a little different. Maybe it's not me. Maybe it's someone else, or maybe it's it doesn't exist at all, or someone decides to come into this space and do it better. And like we can champion them. I've championed Peter with Shed Sale Summit so much,
Absolutely.
Like I think he's like just taking that thing and ran with it. And I'm so excited. I hope people go to it because I know the hard work that you put into it. And like, it's a bit like ministry. You do it for the outcome. You certainly don't do it for the income.
That's true. But I do thank you for the support. I mean, the support on that. And that's the one thing I want to give back to that is you've been willing to support things in the industry that has helped the industry. And that is very, very helpful.
Well, appreciate that. Guys, it's been great. Thank you for this conversation. It's blessed me today. Thanks again, Shed Pro, for being the Shed Geeks studio sponsor. If you need any more information about Shed Pro or about Shed Geek, just reach out. You can reach us by email at info@shedgeek.com or just go to our website, www.shedgeek.com, and submit a form with your information, and we'll be in contact right away. Thank you again for listening, as always, to today's episode of the Shed Geek Podcast. Thank you and have a blessed day.